Psalm 90, a prayer of Moses, the man of God, from everlasting to everlasting. Lord, you have been our dwelling place for generations. Before the mountains were ever brought forth, or ever you had formed the earth and the world, from everlasting to everlasting, you are God. You return man to dust and say, "Return, O children of man." For 1,000 years in your sight are as but yesterday is the past, or as a watch in the night. You sweep them away as with a flood. They are like a dream. They are like grass that is renewed in the morning. In the morning it flourishes and is renewed. In the evening it fades and withers. For we are brought to an end by your wrath. By your wrath we are dismayed. You have set our iniquities before you, our secret sins in the light of your presence. For all our days pass away under your wrath. We bring our years to an end like a sigh. The years of our life are 70, or even by reason of strength 80. Yet their span is but toil and trouble. They are soon gone and we fly away. Who considers the power of your anger and your wrath according to the fear of you? So teach us to number our days, that we may get a heart of wisdom. Return, O Lord, how long? Have pity on your servants. Satisfy us in the morning with your steadfast love, that we may rejoice and be glad all of our days. Make us glad for as many days as you have afflicted us, and for as many years as you have sent us evil. Let your work be shown to your servants, and your glorious power to their children. Let the favor of the Lord our God be upon us, and establish the work of our hands upon us. Yes, establish the work of our hands. Sunday Before Advent by Christina, Rosetti. The end of all things is at hand. We all stand in the balance, trembling as we stand, or, if not trembling, tottering to a fall. The end of all things is at hand. O hearts of men, covet the unending land. O hearts of men, covet the musical, sweet, never-ending waters of that stand. While earth shows poor, a slippery rolling veil, and hell looms vast, a gulf unplumbed, unspanned, and heaven flings wide its gates to great and small. The end of all things is at hand. Advent by Lithgow. The 3 kings come on horseback in Puerto Rico. My wife left the Magi grass in a shoebox. Advent is a journey. Instead of a prayer, I walk. The first Monday in Advent begins in the shade. Heavy ground fog. Around horse stables, the hard clay road is good footing for thoroughbreds 2 years old. I follow the horses' shoe prints, indentations cut in the sandy ground around the training track. Young horses are social, their eyes bright. They come to the fence line curious. I investigate them, they investigate me. A leaf blower storms fallen maple leaves, scatters copper treasures. look. Through the woods, carriage drivers, riders, on maneuvers in lessening light. I follow hoofprints of travelers to find more advent. Gifts left in a stable, sweet with horse, apple, steams, shiny as gemstone eyes of a filly. A child feels the warm breath of animals. A liturgy for the living of last things. I know that I am not long for this world, O Lord, that I, even now, perhaps, already living a litany of last things, some long since completed before I even knew to name them so. Last conversations with all the people I've known. Last times reading beloved books or watching favorite films. Last celebrations of birthdays and holidays. Last outings to places I delighted in. Last enjoyment of spring flowers or autumn leaves. Last times savoring various favorite foods. A last time seeing the tossing of the ocean, or the splendor of mountains, or the feeling of joyful, homesick ache engendered by a return trip to my childhood home. Soon, there will be a last sunrise seen and a last sunset met, a last marveling at the moon or wondering at the stars, a last awareness of the color blue, a last weeping, a last grief, a last commiseration, a last joke, a last shared laughter, a last song heard or sung, a last story told, a last visitor, a last conversation, a last I love you, a last hand held, that final squeeze, a last goodbye, a last letting go, and then that first hello, that first opening of my eyes in a place I've never seen, but have always known as home. And there, oh my King and my Christ, is where the real wonder begins. Yes, in dying, I must first release everything that I have stewarded or enjoyed in this life. For I cannot seek to hold any of those things of this world without also somehow corrupting my affections for them. They have been temporary gifts, foreshadowings of greater glories and richer joys. For when this world is remade and I walk again in a renewed creation, all of these last things that I now grieve will somehow be redeemed and restored to me in their truer, better forms. So let me see with a more penetrating gaze, even now, O God, these holy, eternal aspects embedded in every good thing to which I must bid goodbye. Friendships, family, places of belonging, vocation, rhythms of work, rest, and play. Your glad creation expressed in rivers, fields, forests, and flowers. Deep caverns and bright constellations. The vast array of creatures, the varied aromas and tastes of food. This pleasure of shared meals, of good stories, of warming fires, of long walks, of music and song, of scholarship, of knowledge, of wonder and mystery, of physical delights, of parties and merriment and laughter, of the numberless joys and beauties embedded in this moral existence, this physical world, this brief passage through time. For now, I must relax my grip and relinquish my claim to each of these things. Of all good things I have known in this life, Jesus, it is you alone that I might embrace into and through my very death. You are my constant. You are the one thing I need never release, nor bid goodbye. And you alone are sufficient to my every need. For you have already been through this willing laying down of all things at your death, that you might attain instead the unfading joys set before you. And you will remain with me as I follow the trail you blazed, as I also pass from life to death to life, as the last of these last things gives way to the first of those first things of eternity.